Well, hello guys. So today I am starting the process, hopefully, of getting the good old engine back in this little lady here. I really want the car back at home to work on. I kind of want to get it out of the workplace, you know, especially when I have parts in a pile. Makes me a little nervous, and I just want it home to work on. I mean, ultimately I want it, you know, tagged and insured and on the road, but home is a good step. So where are we at with the little thing here? The only thing I've got stuck back on the engine are the little exhaust louvers. Pretty sure that's how I took it out of the car. Obviously everything but getting down to the bare block and cylinders, all the gaskets, seals have been replaced. On the rear suspension, if you're new here, I've been through service the transmission, new gasket there, new axle seals, new input, output. This seal here, you know, that's new. Shock absorbers, rear strut bushings, front sway bushings, what else? U-joints, did I say shocks? Basically everything here that would be a wear item and typical replacement, yada yada yada, we've done it. I'm going to change the gear oil, and then I guess we're just going to put the engine back in. See if we can get this old oil out of here, most of it anyway. When I was a kid, I latched onto one of these, I guess my dad had, laying around. Had no idea what it was for, but I quickly figured out that it made a better Super Soaker than Super Soaker did. The only downside was that every time I played with it, my hands would be greasy for some reason. No matter how much water I ran through it, you know? Oops. Sounds like a bad night. Well, what goes out must surely go back in again. Or something like that. Well, I guess there's no sense in putting it off. Yeah. Looking back, when I took it out, I basically couldn't get the seal for the entire shroud out until I had dropped the rear end of the engine down, because the metal channels that the seal hook into would not go past the rear engine mount. I don't know if I was seeing something wrong. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I wanted to clean it all up. But I got to try to get that in there right. I got to figure it all out again, basically. Not only have I never done it before, it's now been several months since I took it out. So, the hardest part, I think, or that I'm worried about, is getting all three of these splines lined up, going into the back of the torque converter and on into the crankshaft there. So that might be a little struggle. We might have to turn the crank around quite a bit to get it to go in. We'll see. I don't know. It can't be that easy. It can't. I'm going to put some bolts in so that I know I'm at least close, and then we're going to get down there, check out the angle, and I'll get it hooked up, and then you'll rejoin me later. Okay, so I think at this point the seal needs to go down back here, down behind. Something like this, I'm pretty sure. I hope. And I don't know about on those louvers there, but seems to me that's how it should go. So I'm going to put these in, see if we can hang our engine here on its own. Hang it from the car. Get the jack out of our way. Okay, we're going to have to pause for station identification. I've got my seal on all the way around. That actually went in really pretty easy. I don't know why I have such a gap in the very center. Probably operator error. No, more than likely. Missing one of the little screws, so I'm going to take one out, take it home, see if I can find something that'll work. You may have noticed, you Corvair guys, that I forgot the side covers on my oil cooler, so I've got those on. One of my oil cooler bolts stripped out there, as you can see, about in the center, so it just reaches that point and doesn't want to tighten down. So I'm going to take that home and find one of those, and then I am taking home all of my shrouds that I've now media blasted, and I'll coat those with some Rust-Oleum semi-gloss black and get those looking a little better. And then we will reconvene once again. So that is it for now. We will be right back. When I say we, I mean me, right? Yeah. Now, why doesn't my hanger want to hang? I think I need to turn this whole thing down. Where'd it go? There we go. Well guys, real quick, I'm just about wrapped up underneath, and this is what we're looking like. Got all my shrouds on, all my shields, Just kind of going back over the suspension, the muffler situation, and the hanger situation. I'm pretty sure this is just a generic muffler or from another application. The inlet, I think, is in the wrong spot. You see how much of an angle this thing is in relation to this heat shield. So no matter what I do, I'm not going to get rid of that odd angle. And basically this thing is pretty well seized on there. I couldn't get it to turn, so I'm going to leave it for now. Long term, I don't want the weight of this muffler, everything hanging off the exhaust manifold stud. So I will be looking into getting the correct muffler. Then we can use the hanger here and get a strap going and get it how it's supposed to be. But for now, it is what it is. Somewhere along the way, I lost my throttle rod clip that Chevrolet loved using in the 60s, you know, and that's what clips our heat louver there to the thermostat rod. I had some at home. I grabbed one. It's the wrong orientation, so I'll see if I have a left or a right, the opposing one, you know, at home. If not, I'll have to get one. For now, it's just going to be in cool down mode. I forgot about this thick tray underneath the crank pulley. So you probably saw that appear at some point during the video. A guy forgets, you know. This is my first Corvair rodeo, and I really forget over time what all had to happen. Some of you may have noticed I did not have this heat shield in here. So I had to take all that apart to slip that in there. Relocated my coil to the standard position for the AC unit here. They hung it right down here on the rear brace. Just relocated. I'm just putting everything back to the standard place. Not getting rid of any of the AC stuff, but I'm not going to run it, at least for now, with it. So I'm going to continue on here. I'm going to get the blower fan tightened down, get the pulley on, the oil pump assembly, distributor. I'm just going to keep going. Maybe we'll get this thing fired up today. Ordered this new boot from Clark's. Thought I could save my old one, put it in brake fluid, let it soak overnight, because that kind of reconstitutes stiff old rubber, you know, and it just didn't work. Yeah, that looks good. This thing has a definite snuffleupagus complex, so we're going to take care of that right now. I know a lot of guys believe in getting rid of this fresh air hose because they say it robs cooling from number 6, maybe even number 4 cylinder. And I'm not saying it doesn't. I mean, it makes sense to me, but for now I am leaving it factory. I'd like to do my own looking and my own testing to see normal driving on a 90 horsepower, the base model. You know, I'm not running turbo, I'm not running crazy. if in fact it's running significantly hotter than any of the other cylinders. I have to believe that by 65, Chevy would have eliminated a problem if there was one. Maybe not, but they were a whole lot smarter than I am about building cars, so I'm just not gonna jump on a bandwagon just because. So and maybe that can be a future video, future testing there, whatever. Now the carburetors, you remember on this thing, I took the air horns off when I was getting it running the first time, and other than some old nasty fuel and so forth down in the bottom of the bowls, they were actually quite clean and good looking on the inside. So I'm just going to leave it, to be honest with you. I really hemmed and hawed over it what I should do. I was going to make carburetor video. Turns out for some reason I had a little mental lapse and only ordered one carburetor kit for some weird reason in my mind. That was all that was necessary. You know, you have two carburetors, they should both come in the kit. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, but I decided anyway that and look at the things. They obviously have been cleaned and rebuilt. I forget what year the tag was from exactly, sometime in the 90s. They had obviously been redone and never really had a chance to get dirty again. Needles look great. So we're just going to run it. Well, I'm getting close. Very, very close. I really wanted this thing to run today, but just couldn't get it done. So I didn't want to come in tomorrow and work on it, but I've got to do it. So tomorrow we will, we got to put tranny fluid, oil in it, finish hooking up the gas line, distributor, time it, prime it with fuel. Hopefully it'll run. Fingers crossed. Really want to get this thing home. So I've got the motor oil in. Where'd my rag go? There it is. And I always want to keep this G-rated for the family, and I really hesitate to say this, but kind of kinked and bent my dipstick, and now it's broken. So anyway, I pulled one out of one of my 62s, and it's wider and longer. So I don't know, does this, this has got a little red plastic tip on the end in there. If anyone out there thinks they have one of these, I can get this to go down in there, but it's a tight squeeze. I think this is just the right one, but unfortunately I somehow broke it. So if you got one, let me know. All right, I've got my trigger hooked. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yes, I've got my trigger hooked up. I've got my dog whistle in number 1, and we're just gonna bump it till she whistles at us. Well, sorry, someone came in the middle of that. But anyway, I set my timing to 14 degrees before top dead center. Not sure if you can make that out. My notch here, each one of these graduations is like 4. It goes 0 to 16, so I'm halfway between 12 and 16. I guess that goes without saying. Now I realize a lot of you are old hands at this, and I also realize there are a lot of people out there that never touch this old stuff, and they don't even know what some of it does or what it is. So I'm just going to briefly try to explain what I'm doing. Now, as I already showed you, I set my timing mark on my crankshaft pulley at 14 degrees. That means number 1 piston, it's on compression stroke. Piston's coming up towards top dead center, which is all the way it can travel up, and it's compressing the fuel-air ratio, or mixture. And Chevrolet wants this spark plug to fire 14 degrees of rotation of the crankshaft before that piston gets to the top. Okay, so that's advanced. It's firing before the piston reaches the top. Now, since I've already set my timing as far as that goes down here, that means my rotor should be pointing exactly at where I want the number 1 position to be on my distributor cap. You can start with number 1 and go through your firing order on the cap anywhere. Now, it looks to me on pictures and diagrams in the manual that Chevrolet had number 1 cylinder position on the distributor cap pointing straight back towards the rear of the car, and then our advanced diaphragm kind of pointing in the direction of the ignition coil down here. So that's going to go off to the right. The rotor and number 1 cylinder on our distributor cap, in my case, is going to be pretty much pointing straight back towards me. So like that. Now if we turn it over, we see the position of the tang on the shaft here. When we're pointing at where we want number 1, we see that tang is about 11 and 5 or so, somewhere between 11 and 5 on a clock, 10 and 4, I don't know. So I have taken, it takes a long skinny screwdriver on these, and I've marked, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but in marker I have a black line that coincides with the blade of the screwdriver, so I know where I'm at. And I'm going to position the slot down in there that spins our distributor roughly the same orientation. And we'll see where we're at. Usually you got to play around with this a little bit. Okay, that went all the way down, but it is off. It is not. I'm going to flip you over to this other side of the car, actually. Okay, you can see my mark is here on this plastic cover, and my rotor ended up pointing weight down there towards the diaphragm. So I'm going to spin this. Kind of hard to find these. Spin that just a little bit. Try it again. Try not to tear up my gasket. And you got to make sure, of course, that it's all the way down. Okay. My flange is all the way down, and I'm pretty much pointing right at where I want to be. That gives me a good sweep of adjustment to adjust our timing either side of that mark. So that is perfect. I will put the clamp on the bottom and get my cover and my cap back on. And we're about ready to fire this thing. Well, I can't think of anything preventing us from giving it our first shot here. Some fuel in the bowls and see what happens. All right, turn on the key. We have ignition. All right, come on, baby. Not what I want. There you go. Okay. All right, here we go. Why is my fuel pump leaking now? Come on. So two immediate problems. This was leaking out of the gasket down here. Now all these screws were kind of loose for some reason. So I tightened them down. We'll see what happens there. But then there was an awful lot of smoke. And it looks like, for whatever reason, my pulley didn't get quite all the way on. You can see the rubber sticking out between the pulley and the hub is actually rubbing against the oil filter there. And if I look down, my V-belt is not going straight down. It's not lined up, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to put a ratchet on there and hopefully I can get it to go on farther. I don't know why. You know, I ran it on there with the bolt, with the 3/8 impact, and maybe it just didn't go far enough on. I don't know. But it did run right off the bat, so that's excellent, excellent news. Well, I'm going to spare you most of this because it's just a repeat of what I've done at the beginning of the video already. But my rubber is, like I said, the rubber between the pulley and the hub there. And the oil filter was rubbing against it pretty hard. I took a 2x4 and a mallet, a rubber mallet, and I beat back on the pulley, got it on, and then I used my impact and got it on a little farther. So we're just barely missing the rubber sticking way out in front, and that guy could probably trim that off. I don't know if that's most likely squished out over the years. So a new pulley may not be out of the maybe a good idea. But anyway, I think it should miss now. Take the oil filter back off, reassemble the rear mount, put everything back together again, and then we'll try it again. Well, I'm definitely going to slow down that throttle. I'm kind of starting from square one again here. I didn't bother, you know, I don't know if I will bother synchronizing anything until I get, I think I told you I ordered bushings for throttle linkage down below. So and that'll change everything again. So if we can just get it running here, I'm going to try that. Got an awful lot of blow by, but remember, this thing's sat for, I don't know, 30 years almost, and I've never really had it on the road. So hopefully that'll go away. Well, lads, this has been a long time in coming, but here we go. Smashed my wallet in the hood. Weird. Guys, I just took it for about a 5-6 mile drive, and on the drive it just ran better and better and sounded better and better. Those lifters pumped up, and it didn't, when I backed it out of the shop over there, it just sounded terrible. But I just decided to be patient. Listen to that. That is quiet. I've got to work on my throttle linkage. Even the pedal hinge is probably seized up. I got to return the... It just doesn't want to return to idle. So I don't even know if that's the right spring on the crossbar back there. And that sounds good. Well, folks, I know that the name Corvair is often synonymous to many people with a tragic and fiery death. I don't know, maybe the root meaning is in the original French or something. Corvair. No, I don't think so. I just drove it for miles and I didn't die even once. So, that's a good thing. But I do want to thank you for coming along. This is a big milestone in getting this car back on the road, but we have so much more to do to it. Now that we're done here and I've got it back at my house, we are going to lift it up, completely gut the interior, cut out the rotten floor panels up front, patch panels, upholstery, you know, headliner. We got a lot to do on it yet, and we're going to keep doing it as we have time. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. God bless you guys. See you on the next one. Corvair. Corvair. Corvair.